Hi guys, so this one I'm going to show you an alternative way to make your scrunchies. This is the way that I make them. It's not to say that you have to, the other way is definitely easier, but I find that this looks a little bit neater if I'm honest. So I'm going to flip the camera around and I'm going to show you what the difference is. So this time the first step is going to be to sew the long edge together. Now I've pinned this in place already and the right sides of the fabric are together. So I've got this leopardy print and the right side of the fabric is folded over to the right side, and I've started pinning about 2 to 3 inches in from either end. Now the reason I've done that is because we're not going to sew this free edge, we're going to leave that. So we're only going to start sewing at this first pin and we're only going to sew up to this last pin. So we're going to sew all the way along here in a straight zigzag stitch. That's step 1. Okay guys, so here we have it. I've sewn leaving 2 or 3 inches. That was where my pin was to start with. I've gone from there, leaving this free. I've stitched all the way down, and same again the other end, I've left a chunk free. I've tidied up my threads and I am now ready to turn inside out. Okay, so I've turned it in the right way out, so you can now see my beautiful tiger print, leopard print, who knows what kind of print that is. And the next step is going to be that we are going to join the 2 short ends. So when I say short ends, I mean this along here, and I am going to pin it together and then show you what that looks like. Okay, so what I've done here then, gang, is I have put the 2 short edges right side to right side, so you can see I'm going to be sewing on the wrong side, which is the white, and the 2 leopards are together. I've pinned it all the way along, and that short side is now ready to be stitched down. Okay, so that's been stitched down, and then if I were to let the fabric lie as it wants to, it's going to look like that. Next stage is going to be to thread the elastic through, and again I'm going to use a safety pin in the top of my elastic, work the elastic through, tie it off, and you should start to see it resembling a scrunchie. Okay, so I've managed to get my elastic through without losing the ends multiple times. And so last thing we're going to do is tie the elastic down to the point at which we feel it has the right amount of scrunch. So I like mine a little bit tighter than this, so I'm going to do my knot a little bit further in and then cut the excess off. There we go then guys. So it's quite a long little opening that I've left here. That makes life nice and easy for myself, but it does mean that you're going to see all that stitching all the way along here because that's going to be visible from the outside. So I'm going to stitch that down. I'm going to be as neat as I can, doing it nice and tight to the edge, making sure that my stitching is consistent, and then cutting away any loose threads. So when I do my back stitch to secure, I'm going to try and make sure that it's on that black bit there, and then again over here on this black bit there, because that is going to make it look as neat as possible. So that's why this is perhaps a little bit harder, is because it is more reliant on you being neat and tidy, but the finished result does look better too. So I'm going to sew and I'll be back to you in a second. So this is the bit that I've stitched around the edge, and then when I give it a bit of a scrunch, you will see that actually that doesn't become so noticeable. So if I show you that side by side with the other one, here are my 2 scrunchies. This one has the seam all the way down here. This one has the seam around the edge there. So 2 different ways of doing it, up to you what you find easiest and what you think looks nicest. But I look forward to seeing what you create. Good luck guys, shout if you have any questions, you know where I am.